All right, let's look at how we can make things disappear. So I'm going to take a piece of text. And I'm just going to write hello mom. I'll make the word mom. Let's make it impact. And I'll make this a bit bigger so we can see it. Okay. So I have these two words. I want to make it one of these words, or the words just kind of like come onto the screen using some different tools. So one of them I can use is the masking tools. So with the Hello Mom selected here, if I go up to my mask and I just draw a box around it, you'll see how it makes it visible or invisible depending on where this mask is. Once I do that, I get the mask button down here. And what I'm going to do is just go to the arrow, open up the mask, and I'm just going to scoot up to, let's say, 1 frame here and go to mask path and set a keyframe. I'm going to go back to the beginning and I'm just going to move the mask off the screen. And so now what I should get is you'll see that the mask comes onto the screen and it like writes Hello Mom. Now if it's too abrupt, like it's like too hard there, I can play with, let's say, the mask feathering. And what that will do is it'll kind of blend into the screen a bit better. Okay, so it's not just like there it is, you know, it's that. Now let's say we wanted to do the opposite. Instead of the Hello Mom being, you know, stuck there and kind of revealing, what if I wanted Hello Mom to kind of come into the screen or come into a certain area? Let's say I'm just going to draw a shape here, so I'm going to deselect. I'm going to draw this shape there. And I'm just going to scoot Hello Mom up there. Now, note that even though I grabbed the Hello Mom layer and scooted it up, that mask still animates the exact same way. There's no difference in how that mask animates because the mask is locked to that layer. It's not a separate item. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the mask. So I'm just going to open this up, go to my mask, and hit delete. And what I want Hello Mom to do is come out from behind this thing. Okay. So let's say I'm going to take Hello Mom, and if I just move it below it, you'll see how it's automatically behind there. So it's just a matter of then, let's say, animating this, scooching this up, and then pulling that up. And then I can get this to obviously come out from behind it. Okay. Now let's pretend that I want it to come out, but not actually see this blue box. I just want it to, like, you know, appear like that. I could make the box black, and that would obviously work, but there's a better way to do it, and it's called a track matte. So what I'm going to do is I have Hello Mom selected here. The track matte is above it. Okay, this is going to be basically like a mask that's a different layer. And I'm going to open up this toggle switches and modes until I can see where it says track matte. And if I go to Hello Mom, I go to none, I'm going to say alpha inverted. And basically what that means is as the word is inside that area, it's invisible. But when it comes out of the area, it's visible. Okay, so it's inside, you can't see it. And then as it comes out, now you can see it. Okay, so this can be used for lots of different things, not just this specific one of, you know, just coming out there. I could have Hello and Mom being on 2 different layers. Hello comes out of one area, Mom comes out of another area. Notice that when I did this alpha inverted track matte, that this layer is no longer visible. I can turn it on, but typically you keep it off. And so that's how that's going to work. Now let's go and do something a little bit different. So I'm going to go here. Oops. Try to go here. Yes. And I'm just going to type the letter S, and I'll pick a font that is pretty thin, like that. Okay. So I have this letter S here, and what I want to do is I want to basically make a track matte that'll help me write this letter. So I'm going to click off, and I'm just going to make a new layer. And I'm going to use a pen tool, and I'm just going to draw. And this will make a new shape. So either of these, if I don't have anything selected and I start clicking and drawing, it'll make new shape layers. So I'm going to go here, and I'm basically just going to draw this, just like a regular pen tool you would use. as to how I want this thing to be drawn out. Okay, so I'm starting at the top right, obviously, and then moving down to the bottom left. Once I'm done, I'm going to turn off the fill. I don't need the fill here, so I just say no fill. I'm going to give this a different color, let's say blue, and I'm going to take the stroke up to a pretty hefty weight. And then maybe I'll come down and just adjust some of these points here. What I need to do is have this entire thing filled up. Okay, so now the entire letter S is filled up. Now I'm going to go to this S, the shape layer, and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to open up the contents, and you'll notice that it only says shape right here. On the far right of contents, it says add. I'm going to go here and say trim path. Now what this is going to do is it's going to add a new trim path, and all I'm going to do is say where I want to start or end. So I started drawing this here, and I ended it right there. So I'm going to move the end point all the way back to the start by clicking and dragging here. And you can see how it's just pulling that back around. Okay, so I'm going to click on the start of this, say set a keyframe and end, scooch up a little bit, set a keyframe there. Okay, so now I have this thing animating. Now that I have a shape animating, I can go to the letter S and say I'm going to use this as a alpha matte. And then now as it draws that shape, it's going to reveal my letter S that I just had there. Okay, so you'll see very easily how that can happen. Now if you have a more complex letter, something that might have some overlap to it, you may have to break it up into pieces. So if I had like the letter A here, as it draws this edge and that edge, I have to be careful that it doesn't start showing some of this. Or if I had like the letter B, it would be the same thing. I'd have to make sure that they're all not overlapping in any way, and I may have to break this up. And that's where Illustrator would come in. I would go into Illustrator and break the letter B up into separate pieces in order for it to be able to draw the B as separate areas. Okay. J obviously could be an easy one, L could be an easy one, I would be an easy one, G would be an easy one, and then you have something like Q where obviously you have this line here and you have that. Okay, so just to see how what happened with Q, why we would need to be careful, let me just draw this real quick. So I'm just kind of pulling this in a bit so it lines up better. Okay, something like that. And I'll open this up. I'll go to my contents. I'll go to add and say trim path. I'll go to the end and just animate this end. Okay, so click that. Advance my time. Click that. Okay, and then I'll just set this Q to use that above layer as an alpha matte. Now as it draws that, you can see how the Q comes around, and when it hits those bars, you can actually see like a part of the bar right there. So that's where you have to be careful, because it could look odd if it does stuff like that. Now I could go back to this original layer and try to hone in some of that stroke length to see if I can get it to not do that. But most likely I'm going to have to break this up into pieces to get it to work correctly. Otherwise it's going to do it. Or I can make it big enough so that it just does the whole thing, right? Like that. That might be something I want to do. Okay, so that's how you can use these alpha mattes to create some reveals for your stuff.